What's up, everybody? And this beautiful Tuesday, it feels really weird to say Tuesday, but we decided that we do want to go live one more time, and we can't tomorrow. We're kind of busy. So we decided we'd go live today, and then also, I know, like shout outs and get outs. So I'm going to condense everything, combine everything today, but mostly we just wanted one more chance to stop in and check with you folks. Hello. Packers Kingdom starting it off hot, saying you heard about Brandon McManus. Goodness, you okay?
Yep.
Yeah, I have. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. Janelle. Hello, Janelle.
Hi, Janelle.
Nice to see you here. So I'm just going to hit the news first. First of all, Dontavian Wicks for an injury update. Looks to be week to week has been the reporting from some of the national writers. Matt LaFleur basically just said it's not a long-term deal. At this point in the week, kind of take that for what it's worth, but it does appear as though it looks likely that he'll miss a week and then could potentially be back. We'll have to see how it unfolds. But ultimately, if they're saying that it's week to week and it's not long term, it does indeed rule out things like a broken collarbone or full on tears. So in that way, positive development for Dontavian Wicks. Looks to be shorter absence than longer. Then they lost Lekatus Smith today. If you remember, I talked about him a lot in training camp. Lekatus, well, he's gone. He signed with the Patriots 53-man roster, so he's no longer on the Packers practice squad. They also lost TJ Luther, having to place him on the practice squad reserve list due to an injury. Now, to fill up one of those spots, they moved quickly and they signed Spencer Rolland, an offensive tackle who was at Harvard for 4 years for undergrad. He then was a UDFA. He spent a little bit of time on the Minnesota Vikings roster right after the draft. They eventually let him go. Now he's on the Packers practice squad, and they do still have one open spot. But then the news that everyone is talking about. Yes, the Packers worked out a kicker today. They worked out kicker Brandon McManus. And if you recognize that name, not surprising, he's been in the news a lot for a couple different reasons. For one, he's a 33-year-old kicker, spent a long time in Denver, then spent 1 year in Jacksonville. After his year in Jacksonville last year, he was a free agent. He signed a 1-year deal with the Washington Commanders. Then news came out that he was being sued for sexual assault allegations, and then the Commanders cut him real quick, and he's been a free agent since. Now, last week, the NFL came out and said, we've looked into this. We are not going to discipline Brandon McManus for his role for these allegations, if you will. Also, a judge who was looking over the civil case threw it out. I will add on that both of these entities, both the judge, the NFL, they basically said that there's not enough evidence here. They're not exactly saying 1000% we believe unequivocally he didn't do it. It's just there's not a lot of evidence to back up what the accusers are saying. So I know a lot of people are going to feel a lot of different ways about this. Ultimately, though, just sticking to on the field, this is a veteran kicker who's been highly productive. I mean, over the last couple of years, his 4 field goal percentages were 82.4, 83.9, 77.8, 81.1. Before that, though, even going back 5 years, it was 85.3. If you're wondering about 40-yard kicks, which seems to be a problem in Green Bay for lots of different guys, in that ever-important 40-yard range, last year he was 11 of 13, the year prior 10 of 10, before that 8 of 8, before that 8 of 8, and even 1 year before that 10 of 12. So we're talking 30 yards, 40 yards, up to 49. It's a pretty rock-solid kicker, so it's easy to see what Green Bay wanted here. I'm sure if Brian Gutekunst was even going to bring him in for a workout, he already did some due diligence on this, already at least vetted it a little bit. So I'm very hard-pressed to believe that Brian Gutekunst just went in blind and said, well, let's bring him in for a workout, and then we'll get to know him, and then we'll investigate this. Like, I have a feeling they looked into it already, and so we will see. But he's not signed yet, just a workout today. We'll see if more news unfolds. So before we get to a couple shout-outs and get-outs, let's see what you people got to say. Packers, what you got?
Saying, I was very happy Sunday's play best game we played this year. Everything was clicking perfect, but we need a long snapper and a new holder before we get a new kicker.
Well, I will point out, Matt Orzik, he's continuing to Matt Orzik. He's not a perfect long snapper. Okay, fine. I don't see them doing anything different with Holder. If you're looking for improvements in Holder, they're probably just going to keep on coaching up Whelan. He's way too good of a punter that they would ever swap him out at punter. And the days of using a QB as your holder are decently well far behind us now. So I don't see anything changing there. I think the thing with kicker, as I remember Connie pointed out last week, there was that article on Packers News that they believed they had identified it was an issue with the angle that his plant foot was going. Maybe it was a bad habit that came back last week. Maybe he's still learning how to do it, but as you say, that's a rich problem. Yeah. Eric, what's up? Yo, go back, go. Anthony, hello, Anthony.
Hello, Anthony.
We are good, thank you. Packers, what you got?
I want to see Walker Ryan or Myers Elton Tom.
Walker Ryan. I'm assuming you mean Walker, like Rasheed Walker, left tackle, Sean Ryan, left guard, and then or Myers Elton Tom. Oh, on the right side then? I'll tell you, I actually think they were kind of onto something, and I think it might be the long-term plan. When Josh Myers left the game hurt for a little stretch there, Elton Jenkins slid to center, and then Sean Ryan went in at left guard. If Ryan continues to play how well he has played, and Jordan Morgan lives up to any form of potential, that just might be your long-term plan for the offensive line, putting Elton at center. So we'll see. Iraq.
Saying I don't like the background of the kicker.
Yeah, I get it. And like I didn't read the full like legal document, but I went and looked up a couple news articles in like the town of McManus's college was and stuff, so some more local sourcing on what the allegations were of McManus to bring up the civil suit. I'm so hesitant to really say anything because none of us know what actually happened. Right? So I would encourage anyone out there to go look it up and see. And it's just one of those things like you gotta feel how you gotta feel about it, right? What we can say is because of a lack of evidence, the NFL and the courts have decided not to pursue anything against McManus in terms of discipline. Have at it what you will. And so I get it.
Anthony saying, hope you guys find your kicker soon.
We do too, Anthony. We do too. And maybe it's Narvison. Maybe that plant foot gets figured out. Maybe they bring back Anders Carlson. Maybe it is McManus if all things check out from a off the field perspective. We don't know yet. It's an adventure.
Packers Kingdom saying, you heard about Adams and Cooper trade. We need a depth corner piece like Newsome from Brown.
Yeah, if you didn't hear, Devontae Adams being traded to the New York Jets. That news breaking this morning. Plus, we got Amari Cooper being traded from the Browns to the Bills earlier today. So lots of NFL news. Also, in terms of former Packer news, Shamar Jean-Charles, he's been let go off the New Orleans Saints practice squad. And Marquez Valdes-Scantling, another issue that you may feel how you feel about it, but Marquez Valdes-Scantling, he has been released. I saw that news coming down earlier today as well as they make room for Amari Cooper in Buffalo. So lots of wide receiver movement all around today. No, I don't expect the Packers to do a darn thing with their wide receivers. That's staying put. And then in terms of like making a trade, Newsome from the Browns, sure, I'm down with that. I mean, he plays predominantly nickel for the Browns, but if they can get him, if the Browns are going to start fire sailing, sure, sign me up. They could do a lot worse, that's for sure. All right, so I do want to, as promised, get to a couple shout outs and get outs. I got a few numbers for you here, and then I'll get back to the comments. But I got 3 shout outs, 1 get out. 1 on the shout out list, Evan Williams. I don't know if you guys have seen this yet, but here's overall numbers. 3 tackles, 1 stop, 1 punch-out forced fumble, only 1 catch allowed. Plus, he was the highest-graded defensive player for the Packers with a grade of 93.3 on the defensive side of the ball. And by the way, this is the news here. Evan Williams is now PFF's highest-graded safety league-wide for the season. Yeah. The highest graded. Not Xavier McKinney. No, he's now number 2 in the NFL. The Packers have the top 2 graded safeties in the NFL. I love this phrase. We used to dream of days like this, y'all. But the thing is, like, just keeping in mind the greater context of the game. Obviously, having a counterpart like Xavier McKinney is helping the development of Evan Williams. But the early returns from Williams are staggering at this juncture. Like, we never would have anticipated this. We knew what we were getting with X. But Williams to be playing as well he is. And it's not this like, I remember when Rudy Ford first came in, I loved Rudy Ford because he had this chaotic energy for a defense that needed it. The thing with Williams is it's not chaotic energy, but he's just always around the ball, always in the backfield. Like he's playing a very strong center field as well when he's told to go deep. He's just always around, but it's not chaotic. He's in control. So it's just like a vet presence back there. Number 2, Jordan Love. 258 yards, 4 touchdowns. You do nothing else. That winds you up on the shout-out list. But the even bigger thing, 0 turnover-worthy plays from Jordan Love this last weekend. That's the first time this season. And if you're wondering, like, he had a pick, is that not a turnover-worthy? In this case, no. We can blame Bo Melton's cleats for getting a turnover-worthy play as the ball soared right over him. But I really like the way Jordan Love played in this game. He had the gunslinger elements to it. Sure, the F it Dobbs is down there somewhere throw. He also had the deep ball to Watson. But beyond that, this was the most in sync, in control, and most willing to take checkdowns that we've seen from Jordan Love this year. He really, truly took what the defense was giving him. None of those, like, trying to get 20 points on a single throw type chucks. This is a really, really strong move in the right direction from Jordan to get the whole offense clicking. Then one last shout out, Keyshawn Nixon. 48 snaps on the boundary, 3 in the slot. Only targeted twice, 1 catch allowed. We all assumed Eric Stokes that he would like come back to form. We all thought like maybe Carrington Valentine would continue to ascend. What I did not have on the bingo card was Keyshawn Nixon suddenly playing boundary corner and playing it really, really well. And beyond that, he had a tackle in the run game. He had a very legit pass breakup. He had the big punt return as well. In my eyes, like the time that Keyshawn Nixon has been on this roster, this was the most complete game that we've seen from Keyshawn. And we talk about best 5 in the O-line. Best 5 in the secondary may very well include Keyshawn, just not in the slot. So we'll take it. All right, let's hit a couple of these before I get to the get out. What else we got here? IROC.
Well, I guess no charge. Can he kick the ball good at least?
He's got a few years in his career of over 85% field goal percentages. In terms of extra points, yeah, he's real good at extra points. 100% last year for Jacksonville. 2 misses the year prior for Denver. 1 miss the year prior. So, I mean, he's pretty good from that angle. But if you're looking for a kicker from 20 to 49 yards, yeah, I mean, you could do a lot worse than Brandon McManus. The numbers over 50, and keep in mind, most of his career was kicking in Denver. The numbers over 50, those are a little, I want to say like below league average without looking at the full league scape. But like he's got years here, a lot of attempts over 50, but 50%, 61, 55, 66, 57, one terrible year with 28, and then a couple 50s. His best year for over 50-yard kicks was actually his second year in the league, 2015, when he was 7 of 9. So, I mean, obviously there's a huge difference between like 51 and 59 when it comes to field goals. We don't know just how far they were, but those are the raw percentages. Peter.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, my friend.
Devontae and A-Rod reunited.
Yeah.
What a surprise. Now the New Packers need to make Clay Matthews and Jordy Nelson unretire to make it look even more ridiculous.
Yeah, watch him sign Bakhtiari to a 1-year deal once he clears a physical, right? Especially given the way that their tackles have been playing in New York as of late. Yeah. Let's see. Packers Kingdom.
Baron Browning coming off IR, and we can trade for Newsome and Browning from Broncos. We need that speed rusher, and Love is number 1 in history to go back-to-back home games with 4 touchdowns since Favre.
Yes, I did see that one. Back-to-back 4-touchdown games. Something Rodgers never did, which was surprising when I saw that stat. And then in terms of Browning, I don't remember a lot about his background. I'd have to look into him a little bit. But like Newsome, yeah, I'm totally down with Newsome. I think Newsome would do incredibly well with Hafley too, especially given his outside-inside versatility. Wisco Fanatics, what's up, Wisco Fanatics?
Deep ball to Watson is underrated throw to take him away from the defender.
Yeah, I did notice that, and I have a feeling that's one of those throws that a lot of people would look at and be like, see, his accuracy downfield is still off, without realizing that was on purpose. He was leading Watson away from the defender. You are spot on with that. And also, too, I've seen a lot of hand-wringing over like the F it Dobbs is down there throw somewhere. The thing that I fall back on is Jordan Love knows the play, and he knew Dobbs was going to be running a vertical. He knew from the pre-snap stuff that it was going to be one-on-one coverage. And given the pass rush that was coming, even that, like if you want to question the decision a little, sure, but it was a decision based in logic. And the throw for the position that Love had to do it from, really, really good. Love was at his, I don't want to say his absolute best, but certainly one of his stronger performances for sure.
Packers saying Watson balled out and blocked his ass off, and Dobbs too, and Reed.
That's the thing. That's such a nice aspect about these Packers receivers, especially Christian Watson. You know, like we talked in the offseason a bunch about how Bo Melton was such a good run blocker, at least per PFF standards. Watson's really good too. Like really good as a run blocker. And that's such an underrated aspect of his game. He did it all the time at North Dakota. Like this is hyperbole, but like they ran the ball 80% of the time. It was a ton. The man is used to run blocking. And Watson's really good at it. He uses his size for leverage really well. And that's something when a lot of people say, like, let's get rid of Watson because he's hurt all the time. No, you're also losing a blocker then too. And MVS. Yes. Yeah, he is now available for purchase for a discount price.
Rockin' Knees. Yo, John and the wife, I told you Jordan Love is just getting hot. Just finished watching the breakdown.
Yeah.
J Love is that dude.
Yeah, I saw like O'Sullivan was getting ready to post that. Like I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, but I'm eager to see his thoughts on this week's performance from Love. But yeah, we've been talking for a couple weeks about how the offense has felt very reminiscent since Love came back, about like how it felt like first half last year. Like it's not a matter of the scheme. It's just always one little thing. Like just some little adjustment that needed to happen in the route, or Love just a little off from the window, or just catch the freaking ball. Like any number of things, right? And then when it comes together, they're one of the best offenses in the league. And that's the offense that we saw on Sunday. The one get out, I know I didn't get there yet, but I'll say it. The one get out that I had was actually the connection between Jordan Love and Dontavian Wicks. 3 targets to Wicks, only 1 9-yard catch. But those 2 incompletions, again, were very rigid. They just weren't fluid. If you go back and watch them, it's just like comparing Wicks to the rest of the wide receivers right now. Wicks always gets open, but he and Love are just rarely perfectly on the same page. And for the offense to really ignite, that's the one connection that's got to get some work yet.
Wisco saying people wanted Rodgers to take some chances instead of always throwing the ball away.
Yep.
Now the guy's tossing up some 50-50s and people are like, take care of the ball. Throw it away.
Right. With Favre, it was, dude, what are you doing? Throw it away. And then it was Rodgers, like, you can take a chance once in a while, Roger. It's okay. Now we have a guy who does both, and people still aren't happy. Like, but he is like, I think even you and I have talked about this as we've done joint shows. He is the heir to Favre and Rodgers because he's both Favre and Rodgers in so many different ways, in temperament, in performance. Yeah, he does both. The only thing is he does both at sometimes frustrating times. But yeah, he continues to play like he did on Sunday, and he is right back into the MVP conversation real quick.
Peter saying that Adams could have played for the Bills, Ravens, Lions. He chose Jets. Thought he was a really smart guy. Well, I was wrong.
Yeah, only thing I'd say, I mean, Devontae is a smart dude, but the only thing I'd say is, like, I haven't read a ton about it. I don't know as if the Jets were the only bidders with the Raiders. One really important element here that I did read is that the Jets are taking all of Devontae's money. Like, the Raiders are not on the hook for any of that money. I'm not sure some of the other teams that you list there, like Bills, Ravens, Lions, I'm not sure that they would have been willing to do that like the Jets are. So maybe that's what broke the dam.
Rockin' Knees, what do you think about Jets getting Devontae?
You know, if my team were 2-4, couldn't block from a 40-year-old quarterback at all, I'm not sure the big move I'd be making is a wide receiver. Like they do have Garrett Wilson, they do have Mike Williams. Is he going to help? Of course he's going to help. But they got a long way to go to be at what they thought they were going to be. So, yeah.
But they're buddies.
They are buddies. I hope Jets fans are ready for the 47 targets that Devontae is going to get a game now. Because
Even in
it's
triple
coming.
coverage.
Yeah, he's coming back. And I'm excited to watch it.
Wisco saying Love is a mix of the two, and it's awesome.
Yes, it is. It's so fun watching Jordan Love play football.
Ragany's saying Wicks is missing something. It's definitely not physical. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hands issue right now, right? Like, he's got to get the drops. That's one thing. But there's just something with and we've seen this before because I've talked, especially in training camp, about like Love and Watson. Just their chemistry has been off at times. It's just like everything, like when Love throws the ball to Dobbs, sure, it may be a very difficult contested catch, but there's just something easy, something familiar with the feel of it, right? And throwing to Watson, he can direct Watson which way he wants to go downfield, like that deep ball. Even Melton feels easy, unless he slips. But everything with Wicks just feels hard. And that's what tells me things just aren't perfectly in sync. Wicks doesn't know where to expect the ball. Jordan doesn't know where to put it for him. And that's what I mean is kind of like out of sync. Everything just feels tough for those two right now.
Anthony saying, John, it's great the Packers are coming together and winning. Thoughts on the entire division. The best in the NFL, for sure.
For sure. A terrifyingly good division. In fact, the top 4 teams in the NFL in terms of point differential are the 4 NFC North teams. Right now, if the season ended today, the 4 NFC North teams would qualify for the playoffs. We've never seen that before. So, I mean, like, it is true with the way that the Niners are playing right now, with the way that the Eagles are playing right now. It's really not a stretch to say that the top 4 teams in the NFC, maybe the Bears are a little like imposterish in there yet. They still got some proving to do. Vikings too. Like, I mean, yeah, they're undefeated, but there's some red flags there. Nonetheless, though, it's not a stretch to say that the 4 NFC North teams might be the 4 best teams in the NFC.
Packers saying you see Hafley stealing Flores' defense to confuse quarterbacks. I love it. Plus, can't wait for Lloyd and Musgrave, a full team.
Yeah, right. That's the thing. They're still missing 2 dudes. I mean, like, Musgrave is going to be out for a stretch. And even when he was here, we did not see Musgrave how we saw him used last year. And then, yeah, Marshawn Lloyd, I don't know what role he's going to carve out because I don't know how many more snaps there are to go around. But maybe he'll just spell Jacobs because Jacobs is kind of getting up there in carries for this early in the season. But, yeah, there's still guys to come back and get healthier, for sure.
Packers Kingdom saying, I see a play on Madden that you can have Kraft motion, but he's really leaking out. And let him yak him up.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed to say I still need to grab Madden 25. I still haven't done it. But
been a little busy.
Yeah. But man, that adds to the enticement there, man.
Peter saying the way Romeo responded on Sunday was awesome. Jaden Reed is clearly our wide receiver 1, but Romeo will remain our X factor, whatever happens.
Yeah, I still think nothing has really changed in the pecking order. Like, you've got Dontavian Wicks as your route runner. Okay, sure, cool. Like, they got to work on some stuff. Then you've got Watson as, I still would say, probably the highest ceiling out of any receiver. He's the most like Calvin Johnson-like, if you will. Then you got Jaden Reed, who literally does anything you ask him to do and does it well. And then you've got Dobbs, who I would still say has the strongest hands on the team, has the best connection with Jordan Love. So each one of them do something different. Romeo's spot on this team is so secure. And to your point, Peter, the way that he responded, the way like he came back was great. I know he doesn't smile often, but it was really like, just, man scored touchdowns and then looked sadder.
Yeah.
But even beyond that, the way that his teammates responded to him, now that was beautiful. Like, to get that first touchdown. And I'm not sure there were people happier in the stadium for him than Christian Watson and Jaden Reed. And that's really damn special. That was cool to see.
Packers saying Wicks needs new gloves. I'm going to donate him some Gorilla Glue to put on his gloves.
Get that replacements level. Stick them back on there. It can't hurt.
Also saying Bears have it easy. We haven't been this good since 2002, the division.
Yeah, if ever.
Ragany's saying J-Love is an easygoing guy. I hope he holds these pass catchers more accountable. A little bit of Tom Brady won't hurt. part of maturation?
I don't know. I don't know as if I'd go that far, Rocket Knees. Like, just from the standpoint of it does seem to be working. I do think the entire organization, going from Rodgers to Love, did kind of need, like, an easing in that way. You know what I mean? We're seeing it play out with the Jets a bit, too. It's part of the reason they went and got Devontae was the whole hand signal business, right? Well, Jordan was such a breath of fresh air in that way. And I know, like, you don't got to go all the way to that extreme or be Tom Brady when you're talking about the wide receivers. So I get what you're saying. But at the same time, they seem to have some really special chemistry, love to the receivers. They all seem to be genuinely really good friends. And not that holding them accountable more often would do that, but I do have to wonder, has some of the openness of Jordan Love, some of the, hey, we're not in sync, it's on me, as opposed to saying it's on them, has that actually been a huge factor in their development? And I wouldn't want to put a pin in that to see him go the other way, especially as things are starting to work. And let's just let it work. Let it cook. Where are we?
Donate Wicks some Stickum like Jerry Rice.
That's what I'm saying. Getting that stuff from the replacements.
Packers Kingdom saying, I pounded the table for screens against the blitz, but Quay allowed too many yards, still having trouble covering tight ends. Let Cooper do that. He does it better, and let him play. Mike Quay can pass rush.
I'm with you. 1000%. I have nothing to disagree with there in any way, shape, or form. Let Quay be your, like, quick twitch guy. Have him be outside where his predominant responsibility isn't that super important middle of the field. I'm with you.
Packers Kingdom also saying,
yeah.
Blitz the gap and cover running backs and spy, but let Cooper play. Mike, he can read the lanes better.
I agree.
Anthony saying that those division games are going to be so much better and brutal.
Right. By the end of this, the NFC North is going to be a bloodbath.
Yes.
Like, I mean, they're going to wind up ruling each other out of the playoffs. I gotta say, like, I'm still a little with the Bears, like, still a little skeptical. I know they're 4-2. I know they played really, really well against Jacksonville. I want to see them do it against, like, a legit contending team. I think that that's the thing before we really talk about the Bears as a contender with the others, right? But the fact is, like, these teams are going to knock each other out of the playoffs. And these are going to be some really, really fun games later in the year.
Peter saying that the more I see Eric Stokes playing, the more I hate Goody pass on Kool-Aid McKinstry, Terrion Arnold, or Cooper DeJean. We desperately need to trade for a cornerback.
You know, I get it. Like, I wanted Cooper. I get it. Kool-Aid, I wouldn't be shocked if we found out that he was off the Packers board because of his medicals. I remember, like, we talked about that a bit around draft time. Terrion Arnold would have been fantastic. They would have had to trade up for Arnold the way that it would have gone. But the thing is, I mean, ultimately, like, Jordan Morgan, he did have a good game when he played. I think that there is a lot of promise there. And the argument could be made like they did need the O-line reinforcement. But, yeah, I mean, I was with you at corner. The thing is, though, like, they got Keyshawn Nixon for 3 more years on that contract. If he does prove to be a tremendously worthwhile boundary corner for Hafley, and you still have the continued development of Carrington Valentine, you're actually okay there. Like, you really are. You don't need to get much farther down than that. Most teams don't have that. And then you got Bullard in the slot and Evan Williams at safety. It's not a bad best 6 for your secondary. So, I don't know. I wouldn't be in any type of panic mode about corner right now. Stokes, yeah, he's been a disappointment while he's played thus far. But you might wind up being your corner 4 real quick.
Packers Kingdom.
That's about Quay again. Yep, rocking knees.
Speaking of quarterback, it seems like Valentine is not a good fit in this Hafley scheme, or he's in the doghouse.
Well, keep in mind his injury too. Like, we know he's playing now, and we don't know exactly what the injury was, but it's possible he's still a bit hampered in that regard. Because right before he suffered that injury, he was out snapping Stokes. So I don't know as if it's that, like, he's not fitting well. Because he had 1 week there where he outsnapped Stokes, and then he got hurt. So maybe he's just working his way back from that. Or maybe they're just really, really enamored with Keyshawn Nixon right now. Because Nixon is playing better corner than he's ever played. So maybe they just don't want to mess with that while Nixon is doing well. So, but I mean, yeah, Stokes did play more than Valentine in this last game. Maybe injury induced. Maybe it was a bad matchup for Valentine. I don't know. I still want to see Valentine try some slot stuff. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing him be some kind of like press corner slot, and then use that in dime package. That could be a lot of fun. I think it's at least open, like an idea that's worth pursuing. But I wouldn't write off Valentine yet by any stretch. All right, everybody. It is time for us to go. So, Ragani, sneaking in one more.
I didn't know he had more snaps. Fair enough. Stokes is Kevin King 2.0. Yeah, I said it.
Oh, no, don't. We don't wish that on anyone. But, yeah. And hey, I mean, come on. Kevin King had one good year. Come on.
And Peter saying, any chance to see Oladapo anytime soon? Love that kid.
I'm going to be real honest. It's a tough safety room to crack right now. Until he is, because he's not going to play safety snaps over X, over Bullard, over Evan Williams. Okay, so at most he's safety 4 right now. And then I really think in order for him to get active on game day, he has to prove to be a better special teamer than like Zane Anderson, which that's a really tall order to do. I think Oladapo right now is just at the bottom end of a rough numbers game. You know how much I love Oladapo. His time is coming. And not right now, especially with him missing basically all of camp. Go back, Ragganese. Thank you.
Kevin Kebble's just jumping in, dealing with something. But hey, guys. And is this new kicker a big deal? People freaking out.
So, okay. First of all, hope everything's okay. Second of all, I don't want to speak for anyone. This is a very, very sensitive topic. What I said at the beginning was the NFL and the legal system, because it was a civil case, not like jail time, civil case. It was a lawsuit. They both decided no discipline due to a lack of evidence. I know in the civil case, the lawsuit, the judge, when evaluating the case, when deciding to throw it out, gave the 2 stewardesses that were making the allegations the option to refile the lawsuit if they dropped the anonymous pseudonyms they were using and instead put their real names on. Because the threshold of what they were accusing didn't meet certain legal thresholds for making an anonymous complaint, I guess. So he said, you can refile, but it's got to be under your legal names. They opted not to do so. Okay. With that being said, I am not going to sit here and grandstand and say, like, McManus is an awesome man who didn't do a thing wrong. I'm not going to say that, like, the stewardesses made it up. I'm not. What I would say is go check out a primary source from when the things happened, not anything now, and make up your own mind. I will say the allegations, in case just of a super brief synopsis, the allegations are not on the level of like Darren Sharper or anything like that. I also believe if the Packers were going to bring in McManus, it means they've already done some background work here. And they at least feel semi-comfortable with the idea of adding him to the roster. If they wouldn't have done that, I don't think he'd be in for a workout yet. I don't believe that they would bring him in for a workout and then do the homework on him. It's not at all the way they work. So take it for what you will. I would look up a source. I know the town that Temple University is in had an article about it because McManus went there. They had an article about it when the allegations first happened. Check that out. There's a couple other sources out there, but I'm just going to encourage everyone to go do that because I'm not going to make some grand declaration here about like, he's a fantastic guy. This is nothing to worry about. I'm also not going to be like, he the devil. We don't know. These things are highly sensitive and we weren't there. So go check it out. But in terms of how he is as a kicker, yeah, no, he's good. He's a 33-year-old kicker, spent 9 years in Denver, 1 year in Jacksonville. They could do a lot worse in terms of on-the-field kicking. So bear that in mind as well. All right, everybody, time for us to get on out of here. It is, as you know, it is our wedding weekend coming up. So no watch party, no game preview. We're busy. We got a rehearsal to do. We got stuff to do. So anyway, it's going to be a little bit before I see you, but we're going to come back mid next week. The first thing we do will probably be a live. either next week, Wednesday, Thursday. We got to see how time plays out. We do have a couple days that we're getting away in there as well following the ceremony. So, but look for an announcement on the channel announcing a comeback. It will be mid next week. Hopefully, we'll be talking about another Packers victory, and this time in all white uniforms. So this is a game I'm super excited to watch. I really hope you guys enjoy it. It should be a very, very fun one. So it is time for us to get on out of here. We'll see you all in a week. Hope everybody out there is doing great. And as always, go Pack, go.